GeoFucks Psych Perspectives, Part 3. So you're sending people up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. And it took me, like I said, 5 months to land a job. Mind you, I got $45,000 plus at this point of student loan debt. Took me 5 months to get a job offer after graduating with my master's degree, and the job offer was $40,000 a year, which was the most amount of money I had ever been offered in my life at the time. So we're talking September 2017. But keep in mind, you owe I owe $45,000. So you kind of have to sit back and be like, that's the most amount of money. That's great. That's a lot from $500 every 2 weeks, or $11 an hour, or $10 an hour, or $7.40 an hour, or $8.15 or $8.65 an hour. However, you owe $45,000, so that really ain't shit in the grand scheme of things. And then you're talking about $40,000 before taxes, honey. You might as well go on and take 25% of that $40,000, because after taxes, you're not making $40,000 a year. Okay? And mind you, I still owe $45,000. And another caveat, it was a salaried position. And I was initially told, 40 hours a week. Yet, on average, I was working 55 to 60 hours a week. Hell, in one weekend, I clocked 80 hours. So, and because I was salary, I wasn't being paid for the free labor. I was only being paid for 40 hours a week. So you think about that. Which is why I quickly learned that salary is not all that in a bag of chips. It's not the salary that a lot of our grandparents and parents talked about. My grandparents were salaried, but they were making $60,000, $70,000 a year starting out, and by the time they had retired, they were at 6 figures apiece. And they didn't have massive student loan debt. You know what I mean? My grandmother paid $9 a credit hour in the 60s. Where I was paying like $365 a credit hour. You know what I mean? So like, come on. Seriously. Are you kidding me right now? Anyways, I'm paying 300 times more than what you're paying. Anyways, so I did that job for about 2 months. Because another thing about nonprofit activism, political organizing work is that you learn that there really is no stability. Like, at least in my experience, there's no stability. You could be on a campaign for 3 months and then be without a job for 4 months. You know what I mean? Because it's all about how much that grant is going, what the project is, what the initiative is, and oftentimes once we've met our goal, or we've ran out of grant funding, or the campaign season is over, you're back to being up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. You're unemployed again. So that happened a lot. Like, you would go through these cycles of campaigning or working on a ballot initiative or some type of organizing project, and then, okay, the time period has passed, you're back to the unemployment line. And because most of these campaign political type jobs, they're not 6 months, so you're not eligible for unemployment, so you can't collect it, which is also shitty. So I didn't have a job again. I got another job offer in January. This time it was for $60,000 a year. But it was also another political organizing grant position. And if you thought 55 to 60 hours a week was horrible, you ain't seen shit until I got this job where it was 60 to 80 hours a week. And you just got used to working like a slave. I'm just calling it for what it is. You got used to it. And I was under the, well, it's $60,000 a year. Keep in mind, I still owe $45,000, and you might as well take 25% from that $60,000 a year, because that's $60,000 a year before taxes. After taxes, what should have been $2,200 every 2 weeks was anywhere from $1,600 to $1,700 every 2 weeks. So you're losing $500 to $600 every 2 weeks. And you still owe $45,000 in student loans, and you still got to live. And you're working for free, because after that 40 hours, you're doing an additional 20 to 40 for free, because you're salary. So again, you know, my experience in the job market has been quite bizarre. You know, and these are just a few examples. These aren't the... I haven't even talked about where I'm working now, which is also a joke as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, that'll be another video. So I'm showing all of this, and I'm being honest and transparent and straight to the point, because I want to, one, be able to vent and talk about what I've been through, but then two, to be able to help other people not go through the same shit. And that's why when I see young folks or Gen Zs, the younger generation, I'm not sitting up there telling them, go to college, because college really is not the answer. It's not. And it hasn't been the answer for 30, 40 years, if we really want to be honest. Because like I said in the first part of this video, a lot of Gen Xers went through the same thing, are still going through the same thing, and nobody really hears from them. Okay, everybody's under this, oh, but I went to college and da-da-da-da. And oftentimes, you're listening to someone who came from money or had a safety net so like they could work for the family business, or their parents paid out of pocket for them to go to school, or they got a full ride scholarship. There's so many missing pieces of these successful stories that we hear. That's my whole point. They're not telling you the whole, you know what I mean? They're not really telling you everything. So, I say all this to say, college is not the only way to be successful. And just because you go to college doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Just because you go to college doesn't mean you're going to make a lot of money, doesn't mean that you're going to be better off than the person who doesn't have an education or doesn't have a college degree. It doesn't mean any of that. At this point, it's a game of chance. And oftentimes, with probability, most of us are falling way below the goalposts, okay? Way below the goalposts. All right? Most of us are rolling around in massive student loan debt, making poverty wages, barely making ends meet. Jesus. So many of us have to work 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet or have some type of side hustle. I know so many folks who have masters and PhDs, bachelors and associates experiences, and they're driving Uber and Lyft to supplement income. They're doing DoorDash. They're doing Grubhub. They're doing Uber Eats to supplement income. So many of us are on YouTube hoping to get a big break so we can become partners, so we can make money off of AdSense, so we can supplement our income. But we got degrees, and we got years of experience, but we're not making a living. Just want to throw that out there.